Did you know cargo planes have some of the gnarliest incidents in aviation history? Today, we're diving deep into one that's a total mystery. A story that will have you on the edge of your seat. Let's uncover what really went down on UPS Flight 2976. All right, let's set the scene. We're talking about a massive Boeing 747, a queen of the skies. But this time, it's not filled with passengers. It's packed to the gills with cargo, flying for the iconic United Parcel Service. UPS Flight 2976 wasn't just any routine flight. It became a legendary tale of survival against all odds. A true masterclass in airmanship that left the aviation world absolutely shook. So, what happened on that fateful day that turned a regular cargo run into a fight for survival? Stick with me, because this story is wild. So picture this. Our crew is cruising along, thinking it's just another day at the office. But Mother Nature had other plans. They were flying straight into some of the most wicked weather imaginable. We're talking severe turbulence that's shaking the aircraft like a toy, lightning flashing all around them, and just an all-around chaotic sky. As if that wasn't enough drama for one day, warning lights started popping up in the cockpit. The plane's systems were starting to act up, sending conflicting information to the pilots. They were basically flying blind into a storm, with an aircraft that was starting to argue with them. This is the stuff of nightmares, and the pilots were facing a double whammy. A battle against the elements and a battle against their own machine. The pressure was on, and every single decision they made from this point forward would mean the difference between a safe landing and total disaster. Let's rewind and walk through the timeline, minute by agonizing minute. The flight took off from Ontario, California, heading to Louisville, Kentucky. Standard procedure, right? The first few hours were smooth sailing. The pilots, an experienced captain and first officer, were likely chatting, sipping coffee, just running their usual checklist. But as they flew deeper into the heart of America, the weather radar started painting a terrifying picture. A massive line of thunderstorms, a squall line, was blocking their path. Now pilots have options. They can try to fly over it, around it, or, if they're feeling extra brave, punch right through a gap. They spotted what looked like a safe corridor through the storm system. It was a calculated risk, but one that pilots take all the time. But as they entered the corridor, things went from bad to worse and fast. The turbulence hit them like a ton of bricks, violently throwing the massive jet around. This wasn't just a little chop, it was extreme. And that's when the gremlins in the machine decided to wake up. The autopilot, struggling against the chaotic winds, disconnected. Then, critical flight instruments started to fail. The air data computer, which tells the pilots how fast and high they're flying, started giving them bogus readings. Imagine driving a car in a blizzard, and suddenly your speedometer and GPS just go haywire. That's the level of chaos we're talking about. But at 35,000 feet, the pilots were now in full manual mode, wrestling with the controls of a 70-ton beast in a storm, with no reliable way of knowing their true speed. This is where it gets absolutely insane. This is the climax, the moment that defines this entire story. The pilots are fighting the storm, fighting their own plane, and then the unthinkable happens. A loud bang echoes through the cockpit, followed by a violent shudder that rocks the entire airframe. One of the massive engines had just failed. So now, they're down an engine, flying in a thunderstorm, with instruments that are lying to them. It's a crisis on top of a crisis. The plane started to roll uncontrollably. They were losing altitude fast. This is the moment pilots train for their entire careers, but hope they never have to experience. The captain, using every ounce of his skill and experience, had to manually fly the plane, relying on basic, old-school instruments and his own feel for the aircraft. He had to physically wrestle the controls to counteract the dead engine and the wild turbulence, all while the first officer was frantically trying to troubleshoot the cascade of failures. declaring an emergency and finding the nearest airport to land this wounded bird. It was a desperate, high-stakes battle against gravity and time. A moment of pure, unadulterated skill and courage that is just awe-inspiring. So, what was the final outcome? Against all odds, the crew managed to regain control. They successfully navigated out of the worst of the storm, and after a harrowing descent, lined up for an emergency landing at a nearby airport. They landed the battered 747 safely. It was a textbook example of CRM, or crew resource management, and pure flying skill. The investigation later revealed that a combination of extreme weather and a rare technical malfunction caused the cascade of failures. This incident became a massive case study for the entire aviation industry, leading to improved training for flying in severe weather and updates to aircraft systems to prevent similar instrument failures. It's a powerful reminder that even with all our technology, the human element, the skill, calm, and courage of the pilots is often the last and most important line of defense in the sky. What do you guys think? Could you handle that kind of pressure? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if there's another wild aviation story you want me to cover, drop a suggestion. I read all of them. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, consider hitting that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it tells the YouTube gods that I'm not a total failure, which would be, nice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
In the early hours of a crisp autumn morning, a routine cargo flight turned into a nightmare.